I think most people have seen the news now of the tsunami alert and the actual tsunamis that are starting to impact countries around Asia with this 8.8 earthquake that was in Kamchatka above Japan today. And the reason why I'm fascinated about this event that has happened is because it's been so widely prophesized that there was going to be a massive earthquake and a tsunami in July in Japan. Now you might say that it's actually in Russia. Well, it's the region is very very close to each other, and in fact, some parts of what are Russia today used to be parts of Japan. But today is the 30th of July, and there's this kind of niggling question in my own mind. We're not yet finished with July, and what if tomorrow we have actually what some of them were saying could be something worse? I don't know, to be honest. I was just fascinated with that phenomenon that had crept up in Japan with Ryo Tatsuki, her manga predictions about an earthquake and a tsunami in July in 2025. And also kind of looking as we drew near to July, a lot of the scientists, a lot of people that follow these events, they were also predicting an earthquake, but this was more later in the day. Others have been speaking about this for a number of years, that something like this was going to happen in July 2025. A lady in Thailand also did the same, as well as this woman in Japan. And it just fascinated me, the phenomenon of kind of this secular prophecy that was kind of creeping up. Whether one was feeding off each other, I don't know. But the reality is, you don't often have an 8.8 level earthquake. It's not a frequent event. It doesn't happen every month. I don't know if people understand the difference between the different magnitudes, but between a 7 and an 8, a 7 would be what, if I remember, what 8 million megatons of TNT, and a 9, between the 8 and the 9 would be up there 100 million megatons. It's kind of 33 times more power. It's a massive event. I know on the scale people might think that these scales are of equal increases in magnitude. Not a chance. It is a massive jump in magnitude between a 7 and an 8 and an 8 and a 9, between 8 and a 9, and this is really up there at kind of the top. And it's a region that always is disposed to this anyway. It's not like this was never going to happen. It is going to happen. But I suppose the phenomenon of this being predicted in July, I just thought it was curious. And then kind of reflecting back into our own Catholic world, the milieu of Catholic prophecy, right? So you have this whole collection of Catholic prophecy about our time, right? Some may be true, some may be false. I suppose we need to discern. But if you collect them all together, like for example, Mark McLean on his channel, he's studied it a lot more than I have, and he's kind of detailed them out and put a timeline together. You know, as we move forward, as we go forward in time, and we replace God with other idols in our culture, which is what we've done. We have literally created a system of sacrifice, similar to what pagan cultures did. You know, pagan cultures would sacrifice their children for different things. We've sanitized this sacrifice, but we do the same sacrifices. I mean, for example, in Ireland, since 2018, year on year, the growing sacrifice of our children for other gods, the god of money, the god of holiday, the god of career. It's just an observation. This is what we do. Our society has moved into this. People will say it's choice. Well, look, when you choose choice over sacrifice, a sacrifice of yourself. We're teaching a whole generation, you don't need to sacrifice yourself. You don't need to commit to anything. You can live your life as it is. And if something inconvenient comes along, you take a pill and you get rid of it. This is the society that we are forming. And that when you go against natural law, because naturally we are called to have children, naturally the act of love is to have the fruits of love, which are children. But when we're teaching a whole generation, you can have the act without the fruits. We create a whole series of levels of problems for our society. And so we've kind of put God to one side. God, you are no longer important in our lives. Natural law, you're no longer important. So we're going to go on our own merry path. This has consequences. You mightn't think so, but as it builds over time, it has consequences for society. Massively declining populations, massive influxes of immigration, and whatever your political views are on immigration, it's going to cause tensions in Europe, in America, in Ireland, political tensions which are there to see. And so, as I said, you have this milieu, this pool of Catholic prophecy that's been building over the last 200 years. You could say from St. Louis de Montfort. Read St. Louis de Montfort, it would be pretty clear. And you have, Miraculous Medal, you have various different Marian apparitions over the last 200 years. Kind of a fascinating phenomenon. And some are true. They're warning us. You are turning your back on God. Like in Ireland, we've said, bye-bye God, we don't need you. We're wealthy now. We have money. We have choices. We have 2 cars and our own homes. Electricity and toilets in our homes. We don't need God. And so we, en masse, we have cleansed our houses from our Sacred Heart pictures. You ever go around Ireland, you see the houses cleansed, especially new houses, cleansed of the Sacred Heart. You ever get, we've cleansed Ireland of Catholicism, and some people think this is brilliant. But if you turn away what against the truth, you bring your own chastisement on you. We have created our own gods, our literal golden calves that we adore. As we saw last Sunday, more Catholics would prefer to gather in a stadium in Dublin than go to Mass. Or go on Ireland's oldest pilgrimage route, one of the oldest, along with Lough Derg. That the Prophetic pilgrimage has been done for the guts of 1,500 years, consistently, every single year. And in the age when we are most able to do it, because we've the best transport system that we've ever had in Ireland. So if you think about it, guys, it beggars belief to think what we've done to our faith. If you think about, my father did St. Cropatrick years ago. And if you think about how Catholics had to practice their faith 60, 70 years ago, doing Cropatrick. First of all, there was no food because you had to fast before Mass. And so you had to climb Cropatrick hungry. Today we have our bottles of water and our bottles of soda, our drinks and food and bars and all of this type of stuff, and we have an hour's fasting before Mass. And if you look at the old footage, that's why they had to have so many people providing tea and refreshment after Mass, so the people would have something to make the way down the mountain. And many people did it barefoot. If you are, they truly practiced a different form of Catholicism to us. Pious Catholics. Today we have everything to practice our faith. We have all of the means, and we do not care. We don't care because we have created our own gods. The gods of corporation tax, the gods of open borders, the gods of, social progression. And some of these things are very good, but they do not fulfill our deepest desires as human beings. Only God can do that. There's only so much money you can have. You ever see these stories of lotto winners and those that are extremely wealthy being extremely unhappy? For a time, our family worked with one of the richest people in Ireland, which for privacy we won't say their names, but multi-millionaire, if not billionaire, and depressed. The person was depressed, and she would say this privately. But again, I don't want to get into the lives of other people. But I say wealth does not fulfill all of your desires, but it certainly does make your life better. And so, the point I'm getting, as we start to adore our new gods, the god of choice, the god of money, the god of power, the god, all of these different idols that we have created, which are more important than our faith. Let's face it, our football sport is more important than God in Ireland, more popular, especially among men, than God in Ireland. Our gods of recreation, our gods of all of these things. As we turn towards our new gods that we create, does this strengthen our lives as human beings? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. And we bring chastisement on ourselves. We will bring chastisement on ourselves. We will bring our own problems on ourselves, because these towers that we build, the law of the tower, when you build a tower that's not leading people to God, at some stage it will collapse. Like every empire, every system that doesn't lead to God ultimately always collapses. It's a law that you cannot evade. And so the prophets have been warning us for a while. You're going in the wrong direction. You're going in the wrong direction. You're going in the wrong direction. Our saints have been having dreams, Don Bosco. It's all documented there. It doesn't take a genius to figure out God is warning us. And we've decided, Tsunami, July 2025, well, it's there. And tomorrow is still July as well. Again, I would ask people to kind of reflect on this as we move forward. Can we mitigate this? Can we change this? I don't know if humanity can, or if humanity has the will to do this, because our new demonic gods are so powerful now that it's nearly impossible to question them. But I would seriously ask Catholics to wake up. And not every prophecy is true, but when you lay them all together and the landscape is there presented out against you, it does ask you to question. It does ask you to question, look, what is going on in the world? That's my thought on it. Some people chase all these prophecies and chase all these messages and stuff like that. That's not either healthy, but maybe at some stage, if you just look at the whole landscape of what is happening, something has been, heaven has been warning us, and we only have to look at our society. When you think about it, Ireland being so wealthy, we really are one of the wealthiest nations in the world, far higher per capita wealth than America or Japan or something like this. The stats are incredible when you think about it, and I suppose when you become the Singapore of Europe, this is really what's going to happen. But you have such high depression rates in Ireland. Suicide. Here, where I live in Ballina, 2 people tried to drown themselves yesterday. And a few have already done it this year. In a town that, okay, we have a very high, good standard of living, employment, you can get a job, good housing, good schools, good infrastructure, more or less, not far from an airport. I mean, it's not the worst place to live. It's actually quite nice. And yet people can't find meaning. And Ireland has been invaded by this wave of drug addiction. Alcohol, cocaine. Becoming one of the largest cocaine consumers in Europe now, seemingly. Because, we've nothing to fill our desires. We live from experience to experience. I've gone from this experience and now I have to have another experience, a sexual experience, a drug experience. I have to do this. I have to fill my life with experiences, because if I'm not experiencing something, I'm not alive. I'm just lost. We don't know where to direct ourselves. And God can fit. God is. People think I'm nuts when I speak about God. You all think I'm nuts. Some people that are not religious, they think I'm absolutely bonkers and crazy when I speak about God. But for me, God isn't an intellectual concept. God is the person who revealed himself to me when I was 18 and introduced me into this path of knowing him and loving him. Now, I didn't understand it then, and even rejected it and left the faith because I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't, and neither could anybody that was helping me guide me, because they all thought, that's your imagination, Robert. But the strange thing is, even it was the greatest experience of my whole life. It is kind of this anchor that never broke. And the more I've thought about it and read, God is love. God can fulfill your desires. And the more you turn away from what God is saying don't do, I've given you 10 commandments, please stop doing these, and turn to what Christ revealed that we do. Love, help, feed, don't judge, etc. So the more we do this, it's amazing how our life changes. It's amazing how our life changes, And the more humanity turns away from God, because let's face it, if you look at the 10 Commandments, well, the first one, we can't even say the name. The name of Jesus Christ in Ireland is so profaned, it's empty. It's on everybody's lips every 10 minutes in Ireland to profane it. It's a curse word. Jesus Christ is a curse word. It's something that people use in a moment of frustration. It comes out in every conversation. It's a curse word, sadly. And it's strange. My sister-in-law, who's Methodist, we were at a family meal, and she's Protestant, and she says, I don't like how people use Jesus Christ's name. She was so right. You rarely hear a Catholic say that. Rarely. Unless you're a practicing Catholic that loves the faith. This is what we've reduced Jesus Christ to in Ireland. A curse word. And our leadership don't seem to mind this thing. They don't pull us back. They don't shake up Ireland. We're very ecologically focused, but we're not very focused on the basics of the faith anymore in Ireland. And we bring damnation on ourselves. And our prophets have warned you, but you don't want to listen. The prophets have warned for the last 200 years. I would say since St. Louis de Montfort. And just like this tsunami today, this nearly magnitude 9 earthquake, been warned, been prophesized, it's coming, get ready, be on the watch out, blah, 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 this is going to happen. No. You can't predict earthquakes. We can't. Well, it seems like some lay prophets can. And July isn't over yet. So, I would just sit back and kind of meditate on this phenomenon and ask yourselves, are these new gods that we worship going to save us? No. Your 4 trillion crypto market isn't going to save you. In fact, the $4 trillion crypto market now, it could be the new 2018 financial collapse. As people rush to cash in on your cryptocurrency, well, so at some stage the market is going to lose confidence. Especially for the newcomers that have been investing in the last 2 to 3 years, and that you could have some even borrowed to invest in crypto. Again, I'm not into finance, but anyway, I'm just kind of fascinated by this $4 trillion crypto phenomenon, this Ponzi scheme, in my opinion. That has drawn so many people to invest. But look, these gods that we've created are not going to save you. Only Jesus Christ can. Listen to the prophets. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.